Biden takes his presidential campaign deep into Trump territory with a new troll of the president meant to reveal Trump as the gold-plated toilet bowl owner living in New York City penthouses on his father's wealth that he is.
I view I really do view this campaign as a campaign between Scranton and Park Avenue. And I really mean it because, you know, the way we were raised up here in this area, an awful lot of hard work and people busted their neck. All they asked for is a shot, just a shot. All that Trump could see from Park Avenue is Wall Street. All he thinks about is the stock market and telling him, we're going to do all right. Everybody owns stock. How many of you all own stock in Scranton? Now, my neighborhood in Scranton, not a whole lot of people own stock.
Joe Biden woke up to good news in the polls today. From the New York Times Siena poll out this morning, Joe Biden has a 9-point advantage in Arizona, a 17-point advantage in Maine, and a 1-point lead in North Carolina, where Trump has effectively instructed his supporters to commit felony voter fraud by voting twice. From the New York Times, quote, in the swing states, Mr. Trump is still lagging across the board. The Times has polled 7 presidential battlegrounds in the last 2 weeks, and the president has not led in any of them. And in no state did he amass more than 44% of the vote. Though he has repeatedly tried to shift the focus away from the virus, he has not established a meaningful advantage over Mr. Biden on any issue of equal urgency. A grim political reality for the president on the first day of early voting in 4 U.S. states, including Virginia, where we're already seeing voters lining up at the polls to cast their ballots well ahead of Election Day. Joe Biden has, in the weeks since the convention, blunted all of Trump's efforts to get on offense, and the polls at this point bear this out. First, by turning Trump's law and order message against him. Second, by turning Trump's COVID failures into messages that seem to be connecting with voters around the failure to contain the virus in time for kids to go back to school safely or for businesses to reopen confidently. But most interesting, perhaps, is Biden's new effort at turning Trump's attempt to paint him as a hostage of the liberal elite around on Trump.
Grow up here in Scranton. We're used to guys who look down their nose at us. We're looked at people who look at us and think that we're suckers. Look at us and they think that we're not equivalent to them. If you didn't have a college degree, you must be stupid. If, in fact, you didn't get to go to an Ivy school. Well, I tell you what bothered me, to tell you the truth. Maybe it's my Scranton roots. I don't know. But when you guys started talking on television about Biden, if he wins, will be the first person without a Ivy League degree to be elected president, I'm thinking, who the hell makes you think I have to have an Ivy League degree to be president? I really mean it. I found my backup. No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Like, guys like me were the first in my family to go to college. Up here, my dad busted his neck. We are as good as anybody else. And guys like Trump, who inherited everything and squandered what they inherited, are the people that I've always had a problem with, not the people who are busting their neck.
Donald Trump and his family and his allies and his friends in the media have run against the liberal elites overtly and subliminally for years. And if Joe Biden is able to strip Trump of this appeal to voters who side with him because they think he annoys the elites, it could represent a significant advantage for Joe Biden. For his part, Donald Trump threw more gas into the culture wars today by announcing that he would launch what he called a patriotic curriculum in schools. It's really an effort to fight against anti-racist education. Biden's Mo and Trump's attempts to hang on are where we start today with NBC and MSNBC national affairs analyst John Heilman, plus former Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill's back, and the Rev Al Sharpton, host of Politics Nation here on MSNBC and the president of the National Action Network. Claire, we follow the outrageous things that Donald Trump says when they've made their way into the Atlantic and Bob Woodward's book because they deserve attention. But there are less flashy structural things going on. And I think this move on Joe Biden's part to say, I'm not the elite, you're the elite, Mr. Gold-plated toilet bowl living on Park Avenue, is fascinating.
Yeah, winner, winner, chicken dinner for Joe Biden. What he did last night by firmly facing his really working class roots in a working class town, a non-Ivy League education, and talking about Donald Trump, think about this, who buys a gold toilet? Who needs a gold toilet? Who needs mirrors? You know, who needs
Trump.
gold fixtures? I mean, gold fixtures on his private jet. You know, who does that? I mean, it is someone who is all into the elite trappings, who brags about where he went to college and who lives on Park Avenue in a fancy schmancy place. That isn't Joe Biden. And Joe Biden needs to talk about that, because most voters relate to who Joe Biden is, not Donald Trump. So this is I think, a really smart pivot, especially at this moment of the campaign.
You know, John Heilman, it's so smart. I wonder what took him so long.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think it's look, I mean, there's a lot of things to say about this, but one of them is to kind of come back to a topic you and I have discussed. Hi, Nicole, by the way. Happy Friday. How you doing?
Hi, happy
you
Friday.
surprised me with
Nice
that
to see
short. You surprised me with that short question. I was waiting for like a little soliloquy or something. I think that,
no. I wanted to hear you.
We've been talking about two things for a long time, you and me, right, on this show. One of them is the strength that Biden has in the category of cares about people like us, right? And that's not just an empathy thing. That's a class thing. That's a whole bunch of things, but it's a very powerful thing in a presidential election, right? The other thing we've talked about is that Trump has maintained this stubborn advantage on the economy, which is also a powerful thing. It's one of the things that wins elections, and traditionally, Democrats win when they win on the economy, and when they don't have an advantage on the economy, they don't win. I see this move as the way to try to is another attempt to try to solve that second thing, which is a problem for the Biden campaign, by leveraging the first thing, right? This is a way of trying to turn populist working class empathy into an advantage on economics, right? They still are they know that if they can win this economic argument, the race is pretty much over, because he leads on every other metric, right? And so what's the right way for Joe Biden to get into that? If Trump's advantage on the economy is strength in some way, and a false kind of a pointing to a false, as in it's actually unrelatable if you really think about it. He points to the stock market, so the stock market's doing great. What Biden is saying is, wait a second, most people don't own stock. And so he's using that kind of his biography and his working class credentials to remind people that Trump's strength on the economy is like everything else with Trump. It's paper thin. It's Potemkin. And I think that driving through his biography and his connection to the people of Scranton and people like the people in Scranton might be the right pathway to try to get at this last bastion of Trump's strength in the categories that will determine the election.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.